So a tumor in cancer is basically a cell that's lost cell cycle control. So those checkpoints that we were talking about are now all gone. And because those checkpoints are gone, we're going to make different types of tumors. And there's a couple of different types. Tumor number one is going to be called benign. It's a tumor that forms, then sort of stops at the original site. They haven't gotten into the bloodstream yet. These are easily removed with surgery, and that's pretty much it. It's one cell. It starts out with one microscopic cell that starts to divide over and over and over again. And it could be as small as maybe a skin tag, which is a type of benign tumor. Or it could be as large as a softball, and it's just continuously growing and growing and growing. And in some people, the tumor will go from maybe the size of a golf ball to the size of a softball within a couple of months. And it's just now all those cells have lost cell cycle control, and they're just growing, growing, growing. Another thing that happens with so if it hasn't really gotten to a bloodstream yet, or it hasn't gone into the lymphatic system yet, we call it benign. If the tumor has grown and now has gotten into a bloodstream, or it's gotten into the lymphatic system, we're going to talk way more about the lymphatic system in Bio 202. The tumor sort of gets big, it starts to move around, and one cell will move through the blood system or the lymphatic system and start to seed other organs. So let's say this person had breast cancer, and some of those cells started to move through the bloodstream or the lymphatic system and got into their liver or kidney or spleen. We would now say that, number one, we have to go through and remove all these tumors if we can. If we can't, because now it's definitely gone more globally around the body, we have to do chemo. So chemo is going to be where we treat the whole body, where radiation is where we treat just one part of the body. So if we see a malignant tumor, but we have evidence that it hasn't gone into the lymphatic system, that's usually a clue that it's not in the bloodstream yet either, and we could just do radiation. But if it looks like we've removed some lymph nodes and there is a couple of cancer cells in there, we then go ahead and do radiation, chemotherapy. And now we have some new experiments that show that chemotherapy doesn't work on everybody. So there are some tests that we can do to figure out, are you a person that needs chemotherapy, or are you the person that doesn't? Because if you're not going to respond to chemotherapy, why even do it? So malignant tumors, mal means bad, and they can harm organs. This is what we think of when we think about the cancer, the one that's harming and causing problems. It does this thing called metastasis, which is the cancer spreads around the body through those blood vessels or lymphatic system. And remember that apoptosis, that programmed cell death? That definitely doesn't occur. And because that doesn't occur, the cells just start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. They don't have that ability to turn themselves off and die. A normal cell, if it figures out that there's some problems in it, a couple things will happen. Is number one, it'll realize something's wrong with it and just kill itself. Or the neighboring cells will kind of check in every once in a while, and if they think something's up, they can actually put a chemical in that cell to kill it. So that's the way that they sort of prune out these bad cells. We also have some parts of our immune system that will come and sort of kill them. But with cells that have become cancerogenic and they don't respond well to this apoptosis thing, that's the ones that we have to worry about. So this is cell culture, and these are cells that have been stained with a dye. Blue are nuclei. The green are basically those cytoskeleton. We kind of talked about them a while ago. They're sort of the infrastructure of the cell. And red sort of responds to cells that just look abnormal. So all these cells, these are really normal. You can see that the nucleuses and most of them are about the same size. The cells are about the same size, and they're about the same density away from each other. Let's look at these red cells. So number one, you see one cell that's giant, and the nucleuses are all different sizes. Number two, you'll see that the density, these guys are really loose. They're not really connected as tightly as these guys are. You'll notice that, like, for instance, this one looks like it has two nuclei. This one is a really narrow cell. What's going on? It's just crazy. Nothing is being checked. There's no sort of quality control with these cells, and because of that, these are what we call cancer. These will start to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and as they get bigger, they put off a chemical, and that chemical is to make it so blood cells, like capillaries, will start to go to them and not go to these good cells. So what will happen is these guys will choke and die because they're not getting blood and sugar and oxygen. And these guys will recruit those capillaries over to it, and these guys are going to get bigger and just stronger. And that's another reason why cancer starts to make this jump, is these guys start to die, there's space, and these guys will get bigger, bigger, bigger. Our next video we'll talk about is meiosis, and we'll talk about how sexual reproduction, how that occurs.